Hey, this is Ken from Coffee Crafters, and today we have Jason Scott in our office from Hermetheus, and he's over here and showing us what's new with the upgraded Hermetheus unit and helping us work through a couple of issues, and he got to see our new roaster lineup for 2025.
It's really cool.
Yeah, so Jason, why don't you take it away? We have a lot of Co-Pilot customers out there, and tell them what is new with the new Co-Pilot.
In a word, everything. It is new from the ground up. So the existing Co-Pilot uses off-the-shelf hardware, and then we flash it with some custom firmware, we do some assembly, but it is off-the-shelf hardware. And as you know, Ken, when you use someone else's design, there are limitations. Where if you could do it all over again from the ground up, you would make some changes.
Right.
When you brought manufacturing in-house, it opened up all kinds of possibilities, right?
Yes.
So in early 2024, I decided to invest in a ground-up redesign of the circuit board. So there were certain things that I would change, that I would do differently if I built the Co-Pilot from the ground up. So I worked with the electrical engineers at Yachtapus. They're a Swiss engineering firm. They actually manufacture the boards that go in the existing Co-Pilot, but I worked with those engineers for the better part of 2024, and we came up with an all-in-one custom manufactured PCB just for the Co-Pilot.
Because you used to have to put together a lot of components with soldering, and you did all that work yourself.
Tons of soldering.
Yep. What it came up with worked well, but like you said, if you're going to do it from the ground up, you would streamline things and make it more efficient.
Yeah, and there's not a single killer feature on this that makes the existing Co-Pilot obsolete. It's just small improvements in a number of different areas.
Yeah.
So one of the first things that we wanted to address is thermocouple ground loops. So thermocouples should be ungrounded, but eventually, as they go through heat cycles, eventually they'll start to find a path to ground. And that creates what's known as a ground loop, and it creates some noise in your graph. And so the new Co-Pilot Pro is a 100% isolated thermocouple circuit. So there is no path to ground on the Co-Pilot Pro. Thermocouple ground loops go away. They can't happen on the Co-Pilot Pro.
And that's one of the problems that we saw happening, where you'd have to go back in and address the ground.
Yep.
And that's what you had a separate ground wire.
Yes,
that's all gone now.
The ground wire works, but it's not. It's kind of masking the problem instead of we kind of eliminate the problem at the source.
All right, and what else is new?
Yeah, so there are some onboard diagnostic LEDs on this now. So in the past, if there's ever an issue with the Co-Pilot, it could be a bad power supply. It could be a bad USB cable, and it's not talking to the computer. So now we have onboard diagnostic LEDs that will tell us the status of some of those systems. So if anything does go wrong, the LEDs help us figure out what it is.
Okay.
It's also natively USB-C instead of USB-A that we have right now. So if you're a Mac user, if you're a modern PC that doesn't have USB-A cables, we're going to ship every Co-Pilot Pro with two different cables. They're going to be 15-foot cables. That's really long, like further away than most computer would be. And we're going to ship two versions of it. Our standard USB cable is still going to ship with this, but then we'll have a special USB-C, native USB-C cable, so that there are no adapters that are required. So when you mount this, you won't have to use any adapter. Any adapter can always introduce some chance of a disconnect.
And a lot of new laptops don't have the standard USB anymore.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So now you're going to get two different 15-foot cables with the Co-Pilot Pro, and it'll work with whatever computer that you have.
Great.
The next thing that we have is going to be an option, and you'll have to get that direct from the Hermetheus website, but it will be something that customers have asked for, and that is wireless. Now you have the ability to run the Co-Pilot Pro without a USB cable at all, and just run in pure wireless mode. It does require a one-time configuration. So the wireless module, it's actually going to be a lid replacement for this. So you'll pop off the existing lid, and the Wi-Fi module is a standalone compute device that you'll plug into your computer. You do a one-time configuration. That configuration, it's just connecting it to your Wi-Fi network.
Right. And
username, password.
one of the things we've talked about in the past is wireless is great if somebody wants that as an option.
Yep.
But it does not replace the reliability of being hardwired in.
I don't recommend it.
Yes.
I don't.
Okay.
If you can live with the USB cable, it's always the most reliable.
Yeah, and we stretched this out yesterday because we have a new cable here. It's 15 feet long. So
It's a long cable.
you'll be able to put your computer wherever
Yeah.
you want. So.
Having said that, I personally have roasted wirelessly for the last 3 months. Exclusively, just because, and I moved our router to the far reaches of the place, just so I have the weakest Wi-Fi signal possible, and I wanted to make sure that it really is usable, even in a flaky wireless environment. And I will say, I do see the occasional dropout of beam temperature. If I move a metal bucket in front of this antenna and I block the signal for a second, I might see the beam temperature go away.
Or if you have the Hermetheus door enclosure closed.
That's correct.
You have to leave it open.
On the side of the roaster. Yeah, that's right. It creates a Faraday cage and it blocks the Wi-Fi signal.
Well,
so
yeah.
it's an option if you want wireless, but wired is always the most stable connection that's there. So all in one board, it should be a more reliable, a more stable, no more thermocouple ground loops, USB-C, diagnostic LEDs, just a great little upgrade, something that we've worked all of 2024 on.
Yeah,
we're
and it
ready
helps
to
you
launch.
with the manufacturing process too, because it took a long time to physically put together all those boards, and we understand about making it more efficient to manufacture. It helps keep the cost down, and
Yeah, and there are small things like on the existing Co-Pilots, these thermocouple jacks use pigtail wires, and so anytime that you're using a screw to crimp a wire, you're introducing the most minute level of variance from one Co-Pilot to the next.
Right.
And now that we solder these jacks directly onto the board, every single board is identical right off the assembly line.
great. And these are going into manufacturing now. So a couple of them are getting shipped
They are.
out. And,
Two of them are shipping out today.
They'll be ready
Yeah.
to go. Okay, there's one of the issues that came up just in the Co-Pilot programming with some customers. When we made the Valenta series roasters way more efficient, one of the things that happened is when you're using the Co-Pilot, and let's take the Valenta 18, it doesn't take a lot of air to loft it. It's got 5,200 watts of heat that's on all the time. And one of the things that happened on small batches is it could scorch them because when it's calling for heat, when it starts ramping up, it's got 15,600 watts available. And so we had customers complaining that they were scorching some of those small loads. We know why that's happening. There's a fairly simple programming fix for that. So Jason, why don't you give them the 30,000 foot overview of how that's going to work?
Sure.
And then Jason will provide a video for us on more specifics on how to just get into the menu and make a simple change.
Yep. So the short answer, Artisan has a menu where you can specify the maximum heat that your roaster should deliver. And so when you're using less than half batch sizes, I recommend that you change this one setting in Artisan. I'll create a video on how to do that simple setting where you say, I want to cap my roaster to 50% heat. So even if the Co-Pilot says crank the heat to 100, your roaster is only going to go to 50% heat.
Right, and it's going to smooth out that ramp. So here's how it works in a wattage standpoint. 5,200 watts is on all the time on the 18.
Yep.
If we take the remaining 10,400 watts, cap it at 50%, we have another 5,200 watts. So we have 10,400 watts now available, controllable, just like we used to have on the XL. So it's basically not going to allow it to throw too much heat to scorch that batch, and that would be a way to fix that problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you choose a different value for different batch sizes. And a
Right.
lot of Co-Pilot users already know about this and they use it constantly. I
Yeah.
personally use this constantly on my XL roaster.
But a lot of people don't, and we haven't told people about that because that's something that just started to pop up. I didn't find it in testing because when I'm testing, I don't do as much as people do in the field on small batches. We're testing for large batches. So, well, this is great, Jason. Thanks for outlining what's going on here. So, yeah, we have two different options available now. Going to come with longer cables.
Yep.
And yeah, we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Excited.
So yeah, it's going to be great. All right, that's it. Jason and I are going to get busy and do some more stuff before we have to take him to the airport today. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks.